Nicole Quinn, 435 Kaiser Road, Lexington, 29073. First question I have to all of you, and this is something you should be asking yourself every single time that you consider legislation: what is the proper role of government? That's something that's a serious question that is being ignored. What is the purpose of government? The purpose of government is not to restrict the rights of property owners of any kind. I've been hearing a distinction between, well, that's only applying to businesses, well, that's only doing this and that. Property rights are property rights. Business owners are individuals, and consumers also have rights as well. I obviously oppose this amendment, and I also oppose the entire ordinance. We are currently living in a state of fascism, and we're rapidly approaching communism. In 1948, Karl Marx and Frederick Engels wrote the Communist Manifesto. They outlined the 10 steps necessary to destroy a free society. The first of the 10 planks is abolition of property rights, and that's first for a reason. The process of removing private property rights begins with requiring property owners to get permission from government relative to the use of their property. So what you're doing tonight fits the first plank of the Communist Manifesto, and yet you're calling yourself Republicans. The South Carolina GOP creed says, I'm quoting parts of it, "I prefer the challenges of life to guaranteed security, the thrill of fulfillment to the state of calm utopia." You say this creed and agree that our goal is not to have a utopia. We do not want a utopia, we want freedom. John Adams said, "The moment the idea is admitted into society that property is not as sacred as the laws of God, and that there is not a force of law and public justice to protect it, anarchy and tyranny commence. If thou shalt not covet and thou shalt not steal were not commandments of heaven, they must be made into inviolable precepts in every society before it can be civilized or made free." I oppose social engineering, and I remind you that the role of government is to protect rights, not to restrict them. Thank you.
Jim Hanks.
Hanks. It's Hanks, like Tom Hanks. I live at 107 Royal Oaks Lane.
Sir, wait till you get up here so I can
Okay.
get you on the recording.
Jim Hanks, I live at 107 Royal Oaks Lane. I agree with what the other people said, obviously, and I think small government is better than large government. You always should try to do things in a way that doesn't cause people to change what they want to do in favor of the whole group feeling like it looks nice to them. And individuals have different standards. You should be able to maintain it. But I have a particular viewpoint because I've been in business all my life, and I owned a motel in Florence County between Florence and Lake City, and I planted 12 laurel oaks, and I just made the decision to plant them around my parking lot because I thought live oaks are so beautiful, but they'll take forever to grow, and so I wanted something to be pretty in the winter and pretty in the summer. But it would have taken some of the joy out if I found out that wasn't on their list. That was my decision at the end, and it just happened to be my pride and joy in my motel. And so this would have, I don't know, it would have just made, every time you have to jump through a hoop, it kind of lessens your just spontaneous joy in doing what you want to do. And of course I was just planting all kinds of things, crepe myrtles and palm trees, because I also had a palm tree company, and I would go to Florida and get palm trees and carry them, and it's very unsafe truck all the way up and planted in Charlotte, Hilton Head, and Georgia. And the funny thing is, I didn't ever get permission. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I was landscaping people's yards, even in all this fancy plantations down in Hilton Head, and I was just doing it by the seat of my pants, and new shopping centers and gyms and things. But it seemed to work out, and up until now, I guess it would have worked out here, but maybe now, maybe it wouldn't, if you would pass something where I had to get permission or something to plant palm tree in a certain place that was specified to have some other kind of tree. And that's all I want to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ken Westbury or Westbury?
I pretty much agree, comrades, with the rest of them, so I'll take it.
Thank you. Steve Isom.
Mr. Chairman, Steve Ison, 1201 State Street, Casey. I know most of you are Republicans, and I think you've heard the sentiment expressed concerning the basic principles, precepts, and the Republican creed. That's something that we'll hear a lot about while I'm having my tenure as chairman of the Republican Party in Mason County. It's supposed to be an influential county in the state. It's going to be the most Republican county in the state, that would be good. So, what you're hearing these people say are basic constitutional freedoms of the individual. The most discriminated category of person in this country is the individual. And even though some of these responses didn't seem like they were directly related to this ordinance, which I'm with them, I oppose the ordinance. And my message delivery may not correspond to some of the other folks who have spoken. It goes to the heart and essence of freedom in this country. That's the individual. And being on city council in Casey and a number of different venues, it's hard to say no sometimes. It's not popular to say no. It's much more difficult to say, I'm gonna maintain the freedom of the individual. So, as Republicans, let's think back to what this is about. It's about small government. It's not about putting more regulations in place. It's not about making a certain small group of people happy. It's about guaranteeing the freedoms of each individual in this country. Thank you.
Thank you. Christy Cox.